Hey guys, what's going on? This is Matt with Montana Backcountry Adventure, and today I want to talk to you about 6 tips for winter camping. I've been winter camping for 12, 15 years. Almost every year, go out and winter camp some form or another. I've taken groups, I've taken kids, I've done snow caves, multiple snow caves, big snow caves, small snow caves. I've done tents, all that stuff, and so I've learned a few things that really will help as you plan your winter camping. I see on a lot of channels people wanting to get out and do more winter camping, which is great. Around here in northern Montana, boy, it can be difficult because it's so stinking cold at times. Right now it's about 0 degrees. I was going to go out there this weekend and it's supposed to be 15 below, 22 below for nighttime temps, and so that's part of the planning that leads into tip number 1: plan well. Plan really well. Know how far you're going to go, know where you're going to camp. Go there before you actually camp. Hike to it first so that you know exactly what you're getting into. You need to have a good place to gather wood, to build a fire. Make sure that you can access the wood and have good wood. You know, the place I usually go has lots of deadfall, and it's easy to get wood, easy to cut it up and stuff. So plan well. Plan an exit strategy with that, and know how to get out when you need to get out. Boy, if the weather turns, if you haven't gone very far, you can get out right away. And I've had to do that once or twice. So plan well, look at the weather. If it's going to be below 0, I just don't recommend it. You can do it. It's just not very fun. Like this weekend I could do it, but it's just not very fun. Boy, above 10 to 30 is about right, and because that leads to tip number 2 is you don't want to get wet. Fight to stay dry. Fight to stay dry. Whatever you do, fight to stay dry. If you are camping that night, don't sweat. When you hike, don't be in a hurry. Get there with a moderate pace so that you're not sweating. The more you sweat, the more miserable you're going to be. And so you've got to plan that well. Fight to stay dry. When you get to camp, boy, your gloves, take off your your wet gloves, and within 15 minutes they can be frozen. So you've got to fight for everything to stay dry. Get some sort of tarp shelter to get that system going, and keep your backpack, your gloves, your boots. Sleep with your boots. Sleep with your gloves. Don't put your boots on the ground. Put them inside your bag or next to your bag if you can, because they will be frozen. Put your gloves inside your bag. I always do at least 3 pairs of gloves when I'm trying to stay dry, and that's leads us to tip number 3 is layer well. Have a good layering system, and don't bring too much. One of the mistakes that people often make, especially as backpackers, we kind of think, we go into winter camping and, I can do all kinds of things. I can bring more stuff. I can bring more gear and bring more clothes. And almost every single time I go with somebody, they bring too many clothes because they're afraid they're going to get cold. You want to stay warm, but layer smart and have your system dialed in, ready to go. Have that puffy ready to go, that waterproof jacket ready to go. And I always start with almost everything on except for my puffy, and then I can take things off as I go. All right, number 4, cooking. You can make some pretty cool kitchens in the snow. Maybe I'll do a video about that sometime. But white gas or canister. Most people backpacking are using canister stoves, and they just don't perform well in the cold. Especially when you got it 5-10 degrees and you're sitting on snow, they just don't do well compared to a white gas stove. White gas in the snow is king, and that's why they use it on expeditions and whatnot. I have a Dragonfly white gas stove, and it's about £1 just for the stove, and then you got the fuel, but it is worth it because I can melt tons of amounts of snow. I can bring my big aluminum pot and just make as much water as I need to. And 1 little bottle of fuel will last me like 3 or 4 days of winter camping, depending on who's with me and whatnot. So typically we'll bring, one white gas stove and 1 canister stove. And almost always people end up going towards the white gas stove because it's like, it's working. It's boiling water. where the canister stoves freeze up. If you do bring a canister stove, sleep with the canister, keep them warm. You can put a foot warmer pad or one of those hand warmers. Get the foot ones that have the sticky, and you can stick that to the bottom of the canister. That will help. Not much, but it does help a little bit. But white gas is just the way to go. Number 5, I kind of talked about it already, is simplify your system. Don't bring too much stuff. If you're bringing a sled, typically what happens is you bring a sled, you're just throwing more gear in there, more gear. I used to bring like 2 knives, 2 axes, 2 saws, and you know what? If I need to get out, I can get out right away. If something breaks and you're that desperate, then you can get out. But simplify your system and start weighing everything. That's one of the best ways to be ultralight, is to weigh everything. But your pack's going to be 20 to 30% heavier than summertime, if not more. So simplify your system, simplify your layers, simplify your sleep system. If you're doing a snow cave, you don't have to bring a tent. Decide how you're going to do things. If you are doing a snow cave, give yourself 6 to 7 hours of setup. If you're doing a Quincy, I'll do a video about that sometime. If you're just burrowing into a snowdrift, it can be a little shorter, although sometimes that can be long time to do that. There's been many times snow camping that I've been digging until midnight or longer to set up the shelter. We got 4 or 5 people trying to get in there, and it just can be exhausting. And that leads to number 6 is eat well and make sure you got lots of calories. Don't burn yourself out in just overexerting yourself, digging, setting up stuff, cutting wood and all that. Eat well, plan for twice as many calories as normal. When your body's in the cold and you're living in the cold, you burn twice as many calories. So eat good food. If you're going to bring extra weight in food. You're not going very far, unless you're on an expedition and you have a plan. But for me, winter camping is just trying to get out into the winter, and usually you don't have to go very far, and you can just enjoy yourself doing that. Having a shovel is also a really important idea. There's a lot of other tips I can give you, but those are my 6 big ones. And I hope those are helpful. If you like any value, if you found any value in this video, please give me a thumbs up. Have a great day, and we'll catch you next time.